My name is Ruth, and I'm a former pupil of the Foundling Hospital. I was admitted in 1942 at the age of 5, and I've chosen the bed that I remember sleeping in from the time I arrived. I have very, very, very strong memories of that first day of being plucked from my foster home without any preparation or warning. The long coach journey from Essex, arriving at the Foundling Hospital, this huge, terrifying, great building, and being marched through endless corridors up to the dormitory and allocated a bed. I had a teddy bear and a doll, and we were told we could only put one toy on the bed and any others had to go into huge hampers. And I put my doll on the bed because she had a china head, and I thought that her head might get broken if she had to go into the hamper. But of course, everybody's favourite toy is their teddy bear. So that's a very, very strong memory. I think it's quite difficult for anyone who hasn't been involved or is hearing about it to have any real concept of what it's like to divorce children from the people they consider to be their parents and the home they consider to be their home, and just how a small child is supposed to make sense of what she's been pitchforked into without any preparation. Well, my earliest memory is that we were taught to make the beds and learning how to make hospital corners, which stood me in good stead much later when I went to do my nurse training and learning to make hospital beds. And I had no problem at all about doing hospital corners because I've been doing it all my life. The bed you slept in was the bed that you always slept in. It wasn't allocated to anybody else for the time that you were in that dormitory. Everything else was shared. I can visualize nurse going round putting clean knickers on vests and liberty bodices and blouses on everybody's bed, but they weren't named. We all had the same haircut, exactly the same clothes, same bed. There was nothing to distinguish anyone from another person. Uniformity, lack of individuality. The bed was the one thing with your toy on it that you could identify with as being yours. As I grew older, I was more determined to stand out a little bit. That doesn't sound too presumptuous. Being in the choir, being in the swimming team, being a prefect, and being in school plays, acting, all the sort of look at me things. But curiously, having been given the opportunity to have extra education and train as a teacher, I turned away from that. I was fearful that I would never know enough to be a teacher. I thought teachers had to know everything. And so I turned to nursing, which of course was another institution with a uniform and rules. And I think I sheltered there for the next few years. So I was well over 20 by the time I felt confident enough to be out in the real world. I've enjoyed reflecting back. I don't know whether it's symptomatic of not being able to let go, or because when I think about a childhood like that, it seems so almost out of a fairy story. It doesn't seem real to me, and yet so much of it is still very strongly imprinted on my mind.